بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والعاقبة للمتقين ولا عدوان إلا على الظالمين وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له ولي صالحين ورب طيبين وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله سيد ولد آدم أجمعين صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وصحبه الطيبين الطاهرين أما بعد. So we'll continue with our lessons in tuting, and and these lessons are related to the Arabic language, al-Lughat al-Arabiyyah. And last week we covered quite a lot of issues related to the ism, a noun, and how it can be categorized. We're going to continue with that this week. We have one more category that we'd like to mention, and also we'd like to mention case endings. So before we go on to the last category, a sheet last week I gave you was a sheet which had case endings at the top, which is علامات الإعراب. Now, في اللغة العربية, in the Arabic language, we have different case endings, or nouns, they decline. There's something called declension in the Arabic language. It is also in Latin. And what is meant by this is that the ending, the vowel endings of the noun, they change according to where it is in a sentence. There are three case endings in the Arabic language, and later on we're going to add a fourth, majzoom. That is to come later on when we're dealing with verbs and what have you. So the three case endings, will begin with the first, and that is marfu'un. What is meant by marfu'? Marfu', what it literally means, it means the nominal case. The nominal case. And we'll come to know why it's called the nominal case in English later on. So marfu'un, literally the translation, or how you translate that into the English language, is that it is the nominative case. So what is a nominative case? It's a noun which ends, and this is a general qaaidah, a general principle for now. Later on you'll see there are some other signs of a nominative case. But the general principle is that a nominative case is a noun which ends with a dhamma or dhammatan. Ends with a dhamma or dhammatan. For example, in the word baytun. For example, the word baytun or al-baytu. If you look at those two words, al-baytu, for example, or baytun first, as you can see, it ends with two tanween ad-dam. Tanween ad-dam, or dhammatan. If you see a noun ended with two dhammas, then we say the case ending is marfu'. That the case ending is what we call marfu'. Or if it has an alif lam at the beginning, if the word is ma'rifah, definite, and obviously we said the word that is ma'rifah, it cannot end with tanween. Therefore al-baytu, the house, ends with one dhamma. But in this situation also, we say the case ending is marfu'. The ending, or the case ending, we call it marfu'. So marfu', it literally means the nominative case. And what is the nominative case? A noun which ends with dhammatani, two dhammas, or dhamma wahida, one dhamma. As in baytun and al-baytu, which is the example given at the bottom of your sheets. Moving on to the second case ending. The second case ending in Arabic is mansoob, with a sad, which is there on your sheets. Mansoobun. And what does mansoobun mean in English? It means the accusative case. And again, you will come to know why it's called the accusative case later on, inshallah. The sign of mansoob, or the accusative case, that ends with a fatha or fathatani. For example, bay For example, baytan or al-bayt or al-baytuta or al-bayta. Al-bayta. So as you can see in this noun, baytan or al-bayta, it ends with a fathatani or fatha. If you see a noun ending with fathatani or a fatha wahida, like in baytan and al-bayta, then we say the case ending is mansoob. We say the case ending is mansoob, meaning that it ends with a fatha or fathatani. This is the general principle for now. Now.
Mistaken about the customers.
Yeah, sorry. So it should be on the sheet. It should be a fatha on the ba. So baytan, not beatan. It should be a fatha on the ba. Baytan. That's a typo. So baytan and bayta, and we say the case ending is mansoob. Why? Because in baytan you see two fathas, fathatan, and in al-bayta you see fatha wahida, one fatha. So you say the case ending is mansoob. Very simple. Don't think outside the box. Don't want you to think why. Why is the fatha here? Why is it ending with fathatan? Why is it ending with dhamma? Don't ask why for now. Just understand that what is mansoob? Mansoob is when you see fathatan or a fatha wahida at the end. No? And marfu' is when you see dhammatan at the end or dhamma wahida at the end. Na'am. The last case ending that we're going to talk about in relation to a noun is majroor. Majroor. And that is called the genitive case. That is called the genitive case. And that's when a noun ends with kasratan or a kasra wahida. For example, baytin or al-bayti or al-bayti. As you can see in baytin, you see two kasras. So if you see two kasras, the case ending is called majroor. And in al-bayti, you see one kasra. So this case ending is called majroor also. Now all the reasons why a noun will change from marfu' to mansoob to majroor, that will come. But the main thing is just to understand, it's a very simple process, is that there are three case endings: marfu', mansoob, majroor. Each end with different vowel signs. The marfu' ends with dhammatan or dhamma wahida. One dhamma. The mansoob case ending, which is the accusative case, ends with a fatha or fathatan, and the majroor case ending ends with a kasra or kasratan. So that's the case endings in Arabic. Okay? On page 1, every single noun ends with two dhammas. Therefore, on page 1, every noun is marfu'. Every noun on page 1. هذا بيت, هذا مسجد, هذا باب. Every single word on that page, all 9 words, they end with or dhammatan. Therefore, the case ending is marfu'. The case ending is marfu'. Okay, that's dealing with case endings. Now, someone may ask about hada. Hada, what case ending is hada? Before we go into that, let's look at the sheet that you got this week. And that is the sheet where a noun can be categorized according to declension. Okay? Don't worry about the word declension, and if you haven't heard of it. We're going to explain. A noun can be split into, or can be categorized according to declension. Let me explain that. So, a noun can either be mu'rab or mabni. A noun can either be mu'rab, declinable, or mabni, indeclinable. What does declinable mean, and what does indeclinable mean? And I want to keep it really simple. I want to keep it really simple, because it is simple. For those who want to keep it simple. Those who want to think out of the box, then inshallah it's going to get difficult. Let's keep it very simple. So, what is declinable or mu'rab? It's a noun which accepts declension. What is declension? The case ending visibly changes according to its grammatical positioning in a sentence. Let's just forget about due to its grammatical positioning in a sentence for a second. Visibly changes. The case ending visibly changes. That's what declinable is. So for example, at the noun, if we look at the noun and the example given to you, baytun. Baytun has dhammatan. Yeah? But this noun, it can decline. Meaning, the case ending can change. It could be baytun, it could be baytan, and it could be baytin. As you can see, the case ending can change. You can visibly see the vowels changing from un to an to in. Does it have to be tanween? No. It could be an alif lam attached to it, so it could be a ma'rifa word, a definite word. So you might see bay, al-baytu, al-bayta, al-bayti. So what does mu'rab mean? You visibly see the case ending change. This noun can accept case declension or change. What does indeclinable mean? Indeclinable means, or mabni, you cannot visibly see the case ending changing. For example, in the word hada. Hada. As you can see, hada ends with a fatha. Yeah? The last vowel. The last vowel ends with a fatha in hada. So, I'm saying that hada is mabni, indeclinable. Cannot see visible change. What I mean by that is, hada can never have a dhamma at the end. Hada can never have a fatha at the end. Hada can never have dhammatan. It can't be hadun. It can't be hadan. Fathatan. It can't be hadin. Nor can it be hadu or hadi. Why? Because we call this noun is mabni, indeclinable. You cannot visibly see change in case ending. Visibly. You can't visibly see change in case ending. So hada is always hada. Is always hada with a fatha at the end. It never visibly changes. That's what mabni means. Very simple. So mu'arab, you see changes in the case endings, visibly. Like in the noun bayt. Baytun, baytan, baytin. Al-baytu, al-bayta, al-bayti. You visibly see it. It's mu'arab. It can decline. That's what decline means, declinable. The case ending can visibly change. Whereas mabni, it means that you cannot visibly see the change in the case ending. It doesn't mean that you can't call that noun by a case ending. It doesn't mean that you can't say hada is marfu' or mansoob and what have you. But you can't just visibly see the change. Is that understood, ikhwan? Wal akhawat? So, the difference between mu'arab and mabni. Mu'arab, you visibly see the case endings changing. Whereas in a mabni noun, you can't visibly see the case endings changing. Like in the noun hada. So hada is always got a fatha. And that's why they say it's mabniyun ala al-fath. They say this term. Yeah? Mabniyun ala al-fath. Meaning that it always ends with a fatha. Yeah? It never changes from fatha. And you may sometimes hear mabniyun ala al-kasr or mabniyun ala al-dhamm. Yeah? That's what mabni means, okay? As it goes on. So that's what it's meant by mabni. And as you can see at the bottom of your sheet, I've crossed out hadhu or hadi. Why? Because it can never happen. It's always hadha. Very simple. Keep it as simple as that. Okay? So some nouns you can visibly see different vowels at the end. Yeah, changing. Yeah, so one noun can have the un or an or in, not at the same time, but in different circumstances. Yeah. Whereas the mabni noun, it only comes in that surah, in that image. Yeah, it only comes in that image. So hadha, anywhere you find it, anywhere you find hadha, in the ahadith of the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, or in the Quran, it will always be hadha, written like that. Okay, so that is what mabni and mu'rab means. Okay, so just a recap now. We've seen, and I've given you plenty of sheets showing that nouns can be categorized in many ways. A noun can be categorized according to gender. It can be mudhakkar, masculine. Yeah? And that is, the principle is, you don't really see a ta marbuta at the end. Or it can be mu'annath, feminine, ending with ta marbuta. General principle. And a noun can also be categorized according to number. So a noun in Arabic can be mufrad, singular. It could be muthanna, dual, yeah, which is two, yeah, and it can be jam', plural, 3 plus. Remember, English doesn't have the dual, so the plural in English is 2 plus. So if I wanted to count 2 pens, I have to say 2 pens, yeah, put the number 2 in front of it. Whereas in Arabic, I can say qalamani, yeah, one word, end with ani. We mentioned that. So a noun can be categorized according to number, and that's 3 categories: mufrad, singular; muthanna, dual; and jam', plural. A noun can also be categorized according to definition, meaning that it can be definite, ma'rifah, or indefinite, nakira. For example, the house, a house, yeah, al-baytu or baytun, yeah. So the signs of a noun being ma'rifah, definite, is the presence of alif lam and no tanween. Whereas the sign of a noun being indefinite, nakira, is that you don't see an alif lam and you see the tanween. So when in English, in order to show a noun is indefinite, we use a or an. Able. It hasn't been defined yet. And we talked about this. We said in a sentence, when you begin talking about a noun, you normally talk about it indefinitely. Yeah? A boy walked into the house. A boy. The second sentence, the second time I mention the boy, this boy is going to be with the noun. So a boy walked into the house. The boy is tall. Same as اللغة العربية. رأيت ولدا. I saw a boy. الولد طويل. The boy is tall. نعم. So it could be, a noun can be categorized into definite and indefinite. Another way a noun can be categorized is نعم. That number one. Number without number, without gender, without definition. Is there any others? Okay, the last one we've done today is a noun can be mabni and mu'rab. It can be declinable, so mu'rab, indeclinable, declinable, and mabni, indeclinable. Meaning you can see visible change at the end for the mu'rab noun, and in the mabni noun, the indeclinable, you can't see the visible change. Is that one more? There you go. A noun can also be categorized according to it's being aqil, which is rational noun, or rational noun or irrational. There's another way they categorize it. Na'am. Aqil can be. Na'am. What do we use? That which is intellect, we'll use a different definition. Who's got the sheet with them? It's not coming to my mind as well. There's rational and irrational. Who's got the aqil and ghayru aqil? Animate and inanimate, that's the one. So it can be animate or inanimate. So for example, the animate noun in Arabic, there are 3 categories. Al-insan, mankind; al-malaika, the angels; and the jinn, the spirits. Anything other than those 3 categories is inanimate. We call it ghayru aqil. So all these definitions are going to help us later on, yeah, inshallah, or very soon. Okay. Now that we've moved and we've given these categories of a noun, now on the first page, we talked about we went into hada. We've got to hada, and we didn't finish off hada. So we talked about the first part of the title, ad-darsul awwal, the first lesson. We talked about that. Now we're going to move on to hada. This hada. Now everyone should have the sheet from last week, the hada sheet, and there's a spider diagram there. So hada, we can talk about hada in many ways. First of all, something which is not on the sheet is the first and foremost, hada means this. Yeah? Some people might say hada means this is. Yeah? But let's just leave it as this for now. We'll talk about is and what have you. So, number one, hada means this. Hada means this in English. That's number one. Number two, your number one says hada, let's split hada into two pieces. Right at the top. So, let's just say, okay, introduction wise, we'll just say hada means this and not give it a number. Number one, then, according to your sheet, is hada can be taken apart. Yeah? We can look at hada in a bit more detail. This is important. It comes in the Quran. Hada consists of ha and the on your sheet. Ha and the, and they both come together to make hada. First of all, what's ha? On your sheets, it says ha is a harfun litanbih, or you could say harful tanbih. It is a particle used to draw someone's attention. Huh? Ha. Ha. When I say that, when you use the ha in Arabic language, it draws your attention. It's getting your tanbih. It's making me get your attention. Ha. Ha. Na'am ikhwan. Ha. That ha is to draw your attention. Okay? That's what ha means. Ha is used in the Quran. Yeah? It's connected to Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu. Huh? Ya ayyu. Ha, there it is. Huh? Again, Ya is also a harf tanbih. They're both harf tanbih. So it's drawing a person's attention. And this is what the ulama mentioned, the ulama al-tafsir. When you hear Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, pay attention. Yeah? Because that which is going to come is very important. That which is coming, yeah, is very important. So there's two harf tanbihs here. Actually, in Arabic language there's four. There's ha, ya, ala, and ama. Those are the four. Huh? Ala, inna fil jasadi mudghah. Arba'in Nawawiyya, huh? There's a hadith. Ala, yeah, I think it's used. Na'am, I think it's in the Arba'in Nawawiyya, if I'm right. But ala is used. Na'am. So, ha is a harf tanbih. It draws your attention. Okay? This is the demonstrated pronoun. This is the demonstrated pronoun. And what is a demonstrated pronoun? It's used to demonstrate something, to show something, to indicate something. Huh? It's called an ismul ishara. It's called an ismul ishara. Na'am? And that's where you can see that on your sheet. An ismul ishara. A demonstrative pronoun. A noun used to indicate or demonstrate something. For example, a person walks into the room and he says, Aina Muhammad? Where's Muhammad? I can just say, hada. I can use hada to demonstrate and show this person that this is Muhammad. Hada. Yeah? So using this ismul ishara, I am indicating and showing this person who's looking for Muhammad that this is Muhammad. هذا. نعم? So it's an ismul ishara, a demonstrated pronoun. Remember, we're learning this to understand the Quran and Sunnah. So al-ishara can also mean this, the moving of the finger in Arabic, in fiqh. They call this ishara. When you move the finger in the shahud, in salah, they call this mas'ala al-ishara. There's books written on al-ishara. I think Sheikh Mubil has a checking of one of them, if I'm right. But yeah, ishara. Why? Because you're pointing. And also, when everyone sees al-isharat every day, traffic lights are also called al-ishara. Isharat al-murur they call it. Traffic light. Traffic murur. To indicate when to go. To show you when to go and when not to go. Al-isharat. Or al-ishara. So, this word al-ishara, it means to indicate, to point, to show, to demonstrate. Now, ismul ishara. Demonstrate the pronoun. So now we know what it means in English and in Arabic. Yeah? It's used to demonstrate. So that's the first number one done. Yeah? هذا. نعم. Moving on to number two on the right hand side. تكتب. هذا. So هذا is written like this. ولكن تنطق is pronounced like this. Huh? And now we know why. Because there's ha and the. Huh? Normally a lot of people go, why is that? Okay, it's written hada, it's written like this, but why is it pronounced hada? Now we know why. That's why it's important to separate. Yeah? Because there's a ha there, the harf tanbih. So, and in the Quran you will see no alif here sometimes. Now, show that it's pronounced hada. So, hada is tuktab, is written like this, but pronounced like that at the bottom. Hada with an alif. Hada. Yeah? So that's number two. Number three, just below it. Hada is used lil qareeb. Is used for something which is qareeb. And this can go in your dictionaries. Qareeb. Qareebun. Close. Near. Close. Near. So hada is only used for that which is close or near. Okay, so I'm trying to see what's wrong with the mic in the sister side. Try to turn it. Better? No. Afro. Let's just take this off. Yeah, fine. Okay. So, هذا we said is lil qareeb. It's for that which is close. So if I saw Muhammad, across the common, far away from me, and I wanted to point at Muhammad. I cannot use hada. Because Muhammad is not close to me. So I cannot use hada because he's far away from me. But if Muhammad was close to me, I can say hada Muhammad. Because hada is used to point at things which are qareeb. So that's why we say lil qareeb, for that which is close. To point at that which is close. Shut it off. Na'am. So hada is used to point at that which is qareeb. Na'am, close. Next one. Number 4. Hada is lil mufrad. And now you see all these words that we've learned before. Now we know why it's used there. It's for that which is. Okay, don't just change it on mic. No. Well, okay, I'll just use this. So هذا is also used, number 4, for mufrad, for that which is singular. So I can't point at, you are a group of students in front of me. I can't say هذا طلاب. طلاب meaning students. Why can't I use هذا to point at all of you? Because هذا is only used for singular, to point at one noun. So I can say هذا قلم, because I'm holding one pen. But me picking up 4 pens here, I cannot say هذا أقلام. أقلام being the plural of قلم. I cannot do that. Why? Because هذا is only used to point at singular nouns. Yeah? So it's lil mufrad. It's lil mufrad. Number 5. هذا is lil mudhakkar. And we know what mudhakkar means now. هذا you can only use هذا to point at masculine nouns. And the general principle then, for noun, nouns which don't end with ta or mota. Nouns which don't end with the round ta. So, on page 1, as you can see on page 1 in the Medina book, every single noun is mudhakkar. How do we know? Because هذا is placed in front of it, number 1. And the second reason, general principle, no ta marbuta. But now we have another clue, that we know that every single one of these nouns is mudhakkar because هذا is used with it. And هذا can only be used to point at masculine nouns or mudhakkar nouns. Number 6. هذا is used to point at عاقل and غير عاقل nouns. That's why I taught you. I chose to teach عاقل and غير عاقل very early, because هذا is used to point at both. You might say, why are you telling us if it's used to point at both? You don't need to mention that it's for عاقل and غير عاقل. Well, you're going to realize very soon, inshallah, that there are certain demonstrated pronouns, the singular version, it only used to point at غير عاقل nouns. Or there's certain situations where this will be very useful. So هذا, I can say هذا قلم, because قلم is غير عاقل, inanimate. But I can also say هذا وليد. هذا وليد, because walid is عاقل. So هذا, you can use it to point at anything. You can point at the jidar, the wall. هذا jidar. You can use it to point at the maktab, desk. هذا maktab. If there's a boy standing next to me, هذا ولد. If there's a doctor standing next to me, هذا طبيب. Because walad and tabib is going to come very soon in this chapter. So هذا is used to point at عاقل nouns, animate nouns, mankind, angels, the jinn, and غير عاقل nouns, everything other than those 3 categories. Okay? And finally, هذا is used, is ma'rifah. Okay? هذا is ma'rifah. And this is very important to understand now. And it needs a bit of fahm, of understanding. Now, we said a ma'rifah noun is a noun which has alif lam and no tanween, صح? That's the way you could tell if a noun is definite, meaning the house, al-baytu. How do we know that this is definite? Ma'rifah. It has al and no tanween. No tanween, صح? But I just said to you that هذا is definite. But you can't see an alif lam on هذا. Yeah? And هذا never accepts tanween anyway, because it's mabni. It's indeclinable. It always stays in that image. Yeah? So how do we know that هذا is ma'rifah? The way to know this is هذا is ma'rifah, because just by you pointing using هذا, it makes something known. In itself it's ma'rifah, it's definite. For example, like I mentioned, if a person was to walk in and he's looking for Ali, Aina Ali, where's Ali? I can just do هذا. هذا defining Ali, making him known. How this ma'rifah is known is definite in itself. Okay? So we just have to know that the demonstrated pronouns, all demonstrated pronouns, this is a qaaidah, all demonstrated pronouns in Arabic are definite, are ma'rifah. Even though you can't visibly see an alif lam at the beginning. Okay? The signs. But they are ma'rifah. Same as the pronouns. Anta, huwa, ana. They are all ma'rifah. We're going to come to this. So, hada is ma'rifah. Okay? It is ma'rifah. It is definite. And you don't need to have those signs for it to be definite. Because it's definite within itself, in itself. Okay? Now this is very important now. Now that I've done this, and I've defined hada, now, like what I said right at the beginning, of before I went through all of these introductions, I said that if you look at the page 1, before I done all this, you will see it with some deficiency, without basira. But now when you look at page 1, everything changes. Because Allah has given you some knowledge now. And you look at everything, you look at everything in a different way. Let me show you how. Let me show you how. It's rubbing off what's on the board. Okay. Spread it across. هذا بيت, which is the first sentence on page 1. When we look at hada, we're not just looking at it as hada, it means this, as we previously, a lot of us knew. Now we're looking at it in a different way. We look at, okay, hada, okay, it's ma'rifah, it's definite. Oh, it's mabni, it never changes. Hada is used to point out masculine nouns, mudhakkar. Hada is used to point out lil qareeb, for that which is close. Hada is to point at mufrad, singular nouns. Hada, oh yes, I'm pronouncing it hada. Oh, that's because hada consists of two. Harful tanbih. Tha, which is the demonstrated pronoun. You're looking at it in a completely different way now. First you looked at hada, that's the word, it means this. But now because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given you that extra knowledge, you're looking at it with a different way. Let's say with the ulama. We look at a page in the Mus'haf, in the Quran, and we're reading. The ulama, they see it in a different way. They look at ahkam, rules and regulations. They look at i'rab. They look at the grammatical rules. The asbab al-nuzul, the reasons why these verses were revealed. Qira'at, the different ways that that it could be recited. They look at it in a completely different way because they have knowledge. Basira, they've learnt. So when you have knowledge, you look at things in a completely different way. Just like a person who made that switch. We look at that switch and we just see a switch with 2 screws and 2 plugs. And 2 switches, or the on switch. The person who made that, they look at the material, that which is behind it, the circuits. What wires are there? Which colours are they going to be? They look at it in a completely different way. Because they have knowledge that we don't have. So alhamdulillah, in our first lesson, first page looking at hada, we looked at it in a completely simple way. But now, alhamdulillah, we have some knowledge. Baytun! Again, baytun, okay. It's mufrad, singular. Baytun, oh, no alif lam, tanween. Oh, that's nakira, indefinite. Baytun, oh, it's mudhakkar, I can't see ta marbuta. Baytun, what else can we say? Na'am. What else can we say about baytun? Yeah, there we go. غير عاقل, indefinite. We're looking at it in a different way. Baytun, oh, it's marfu'. Case ending, it's marfu'. 2 dhammas. Again, looking at it in a completely different way. Now I can tell you then that this is a sentence, na'am, but there are 2 sentences in Arabic language. In Arabic language, there are 2 types of sentences. And we can go to that sheet now. In Arabic, there are 2 types of sentences. You have a sheet in front of you, which says a jumla at the top. It says jumla at the beginning, at the top. It says jumla at the top. Yeah. Everyone should have a sheet. It says jumla at the top. Now. No, there's. I don't know. I think we've given the rest of the sheets back to the sisters. Yeah. That one is that's something else. Yeah. So Jumla, do you have that in front of you? لا? Yeah, so Jumla Ismiya. No, there should be another one. I might not have printed it. لا, I didn't print it. Afwan. Naseed. I forgot. So there was meant to be a fifth sheet. I forgot to print that. Afwan. So no. Okay, just know that a Jumla, and I'll give you that next week. A Jumla, there are two types of Jumlas in Arabic. First of all, Jumlatun. You don't have the sheet with you. I forgot to print it. In Arabic, okay, Jumla means sentence. In Arabic, Jumlatun means sentence. And there are two types of sentences in Arabic. There's the Jumla Ismiya. A Jumlatun Ismiyatun, which is called a nominal sentence. A Jumla Ismiya, a nominal sentence. And what is a nominal sentence in Arabic? It's a sentence which begins with a noun. Jumla Ismiya. That sheet, inshallah, I have made it. I just forgot to print it. Afwan. So Jumlatun Ismiya, I'll give it to you next week. A Jumlatun Ismiyatun is a nominal sentence. What is a nominal sentence in Arabic? A Jumla, a sentence which begins with an ism, a noun. So, هذا بيت, هذا مفتاح, هذا كتاب. Every sentence on the first page begins with هذا. What's هذا? A pronoun. And remember when we first talked about speech? Speech being nouns, verbs, and particles. We said nouns, there are different types of nouns. From them are pronouns. Demonstrated pronouns. So every sentence on the first page begins with هذا. هذا is a noun. Yeah? That means these sentences are all what? Jumlatun Ismiya. Every sentence on the first page is a nominal sentence. A sentence which begins with a ism, noun. And hada is an ism. It's an ism ishara. Demonstrative pronoun. Okay? The second type of sentence in the Arabic language is the jumlatun fi'liyatun. The jumlatun fi'liyatun. The verbal sentence. Verbal sentence. And who can guess what type of sentence this is? It's a sentence which begins with a fi'l, with a verb. Yeah? In Lughah al-Arabiya, a jumla which begins with a fi'l is a jumla fi'liya. So for example, al-baytu qareebun, in the sentence al-baytu qareebun, or hadha baytun, these sentences begin with a ism. So it's called a jumla ismiya. But in the sentence, and it's on that sheet, unfortunately I didn't bring it, it's on that sheet. ذهب محمد إلى المسجد وإلى المسجد. Don't worry about that now. ذهب is a fi'l, a verb. That means ذهب محمد إلى المسجد. Muhammad went to the masjid. Is a jumla fi'liya. Why? Because ذهب is a fi'l. So, if you see a sentence beginning with a fi'l, it's a jumla fi'liya, verbal sentence. A sentence which begins with a verb. If you see a sentence beginning with an ism, like هذا بيت, then it's a jumla ismiya. Why? Because the sentence begins with an ism. Some people, and it's wrong for them, they say this. Some people, a definition which is wrong, where people they say that a jumla fi'liya is a jumla which has a verb. A sentence which has a verb. A jumla ismiya can have a verb in it. You're going to find out. A nominal sentence can have a verb later on. in the sentence. But it's still a jumla ismiya if it begins with a noun. So that's wrong for someone to say that a verbal sentence is a sentence which has a verb in it. That's wrong. It's a jumla, it's a sentence which begins with a fi'l. Okay? So those are the two types of sentences. We are not going to touch jumla fi'liya anytime soon. Leave that alone. But we are touching jumla ismiya. And you have a sheet all in front of you about the jumla ismiya. You have a sheet about the jumla ismiya. So, the nominal sentence consists of two components. A jumla ismiya over here, consists of two components. Has two distinctive features in that sentence. A jumla ismiya. Has two components, it consists of two things, components. Number one, it has a mubtada, subject. Number two, it has a khabar, predicate, news, information. Many ways it goes by. But listen, we're going to explain that. Mubtada, khabar. Subject, predicate. What is a subject? A subject is whom or what the sentence is about. Whom or what the sentence is about. The main focus or topic of the sentence. It's the main subject or topic of a sentence. And what is a predicate? What it does, it gives us information about the subject. It gives us information about the subject. So for example, in English, the boy. What about the boy? Give me some information about the boy. Oh, he is tall. He is tall, the boy, is tall. That is the khabar. In a sense, I'm trying to explain it. Maybe in English it's a bit different. But in a sense, it's information. Give me information about what? The subject, the focus, the topic of the sentence, which is the boy. Yeah? So if we look at a nice simple example then, you have Al-Baytu Qareebun. The house is close. So what's the subject of the sentence? Where's the mubtada? Where's the focus, the topic? It is the house. Yeah? Or the house is. Yeah? What about this house? What is it? Give me some information. Give me a predicate. Yeah? Give me a khabar. Oh, it's qareeb. Qareeb is the khabar. So, al-bayt, the house. The mubtada, the subject. Tell me some information about it. Give me a khabar. Qareebun is close. Hada! And at the moment, what am I doing? I am pointing at the door. Hada! That's the subject. Hada is the subject. Tell me about Hada. Babun is a door. So Babun is information about Hada. It's telling me the subject. What's the subject? Hada. Okay, tell me about this subject. This mubtada, Hada. Give me some information. Khabar. It's Babun. Now I told you that Hada, this is a Bab. Is a door. So Babun is the Khabar. So, therefore, on page 1, every single hada is the subject. On page 1, every single hada baytun, hada masjidun, hada babun, hada kitabun, hada qalamun, hada miftahun, hada maktabun, hada sarirun, hada kursiyun. Every single hada is the subject. المبتدا. Tell me about هذا. هذا بيت خبر. هذا مسجد خبر. So that which is talking about هذا, that which is giving information about هذا, is the khabar, is the news, the predicate. Okay? So these are all jumla ismiyas. They are all nominal sentence. And in a nominal sentence, it consists of two things: a mubtada, subject, and a khabar, predicate. And hada on page 1 on every single situation is the subject. Hada! Me pointing at the maktab, the table, the desk. Hada! Okay, tell me about hada. Maktabun is a desk. Desk is the khabar. فهمتم إخوان والأخوات? So, in a jumla ismiya, a nominal sentence, a sentence which begins with an ism, a noun, you find two things. It consists of two things. A mubtada, subject, yeah? In this case, hada. And a khabar, predicate or information about the subject. And each one of these nouns, baytun, qalamun, is to explain or give an information about hada, what you're pointing at. Yeah? Now.
So teacher, this mubtadun or mubtada?
Mubtada. Oh, very good. Yeah? So, mubtada'un, if I want to say the case ending. Mubtada'un, if I want to stop on it, mubtada. Yeah? But, good, I'm going to make sure I say mubtada'un. I want to say the case ending. Jazakallah khair. So, mubtada'un and khabarun. Yeah? Subject and news. Okay, we'll end with the following two sheets. Is there a way that you can identify the subject by just looking at it? No. There is. And now all the terminology that you have learned before were aided. If you go to the sheet which says mubtada, the subject, the mubtada, has two distinct features. The mubtada, the subject, has two distinct features. You can tell it's the mubtada just by looking at it. Number one, it is ma'rifah, it's definite. And we said, for example, if I was to place, I just want to show you without hada. If I was to put over here, al-baytu qaribun, the example that we're using. Al-baytu qaribun. Al-baytu, it's the mubtada. Yeah? How do I know al-baytu is the mubtada? Number one, it's ma'rifah, definite. And we said the ma'rifah has two things. It has the presence of al. In al-baytu, can you see the al? Yes, you can. And it has no tanween. Al-baytu, does it have tanween? No. So, tick. It has one feature there that we can see. It's ma'rifah. Number two, the mubtada is always marfu'. Now you know what marfu' means? It always ends with a dhamma. It always ends with a dhamma, marfu'. So al-baytu, the house, yeah, is the mubtada, the subject. Can we visibly see the signs of it being a mubtada? Naam, it's ma'rifah. Alif lam no tanween. Number two, the case ending is dhamma marfu'. Yeah? So al-baytu, as you see at the bottom, is ma'rifah marfu'. Okay, qaribun. Go to the next page, ikhwan. Khabar. The khabar. The news, or the predicate, also has two distinct features. Number one, instead of it being ma'rifah, it's nakira. What do you mean nakira? Number one, what's the signs? There is no al. Yes, the khabar never has al. The khabar never has al. Very important that you understand that. Yeah? The khabar, you never see al on it. And it is also marfu'. Always marfu'. It also always ends with a dhamma, or the dhammatan. Always ends with dhammatan. And this is the general principle for now, yeah? Using the general principle. So, al-baytu is the mubtada. Why? It's ma'rifah. How do you know that? Alif lam, no tanween. Why is it also the mubtada? It's marfu', ends with a dhamma. Qareebun is the khabar. How do you know? It's nakira. It's the signs of it being nakira. No alif lam and tanween. And it is always marfu'. Qareebun ends with dhammatan. Okay? So, there are also ways that you can identify. Going back to hada. Going back to هذا بيت, and we finish with this. Going back to هذا بيت, because هذا is in every sentence on page 1, صح? هذا بيت. This is a house. What type of sentence, إخوان? جملة اسمية, a nominal sentence. How do we know? Begins with a ism الإشارة. Demonstrate problem. And جملة اسمية has two components. مبتدا, subject, خبر. Where's the مبتدا? هذا. Where's the information? بيت, خبر. Okay, هذا is the مبتدا. So that means it has to have the features of a مبتدا. Number 1 is a معرفة. Yes, but remember I told you? هذا is معرفة. Either you're going to see the alif lam. هذا is معرفة. Yeah? So yes. Where's but we said that the مبتدا is always مرفوع, has a ضمة وضمتان. Remember? But we know that هذا is مرفوع. But why can't we see the ضمة وضمتان, إخوان? It is مبني. It never changes. It always looks like that. But it is marfu'. We say that it's marfu'. Because why? It's come in the place of a mubtada, where the mubtada comes. And anything, for example, this chair. This is the chair of the mubtada. Anyone who sits in that chair is going to become the mubtada. Or, let's do it another way. That chair, anybody who sits on it, they become marfu'. Yeah? So, I put هذا here. هذا is marfu'. Because it's come in that place. It sat on that place. And this is the place, the beginning of the sentence is where the mubtada normally sits. So هذا is marfu'. Okay? بيت is the khabar. How do we know? Nakira. Number 1. Second sign. It's marfu'. Ends with dhammatan. And those are the signs of marfu'. Now, ikhwan, and this is the last thing I'll tell, I promise this, inshallah, the Prophet is telling me time. Now I can say that I can make simple i'rab analysis of a sentence. Simple analysis. You know, normally this comes like 5-10 chapters afterwards. It's simple. هذا مبتدا مرفوع. بيت خبر مرفوع. Simple analysis. Simple i'rab. Simple analysis. هذا مبتدا مرفوع. بيت خبر مرفوع. I will reiterate this last bit, inshallah, and go over it next lesson, bi'idhnillah ta'ala. But ikhwan, you learn the terminology, everything becomes easy. Now we can swiftly move on, inshallah, in the book, because we have the qawaid, the pillars that we can work with now. Na'am. So you'll see us going through the pages now, bi'idhnillah ta'ala. So now we can look at all this page, and we know all about these sentences on this page. Huh? Homework, ikhwan. Every single sentence, write it out, put it in the middle of your page, and get arrows pointed out, and start talking about it. Start talking about it. هذا مبتدا. From the mubtada you can have two more lines coming out. Mubtada. It's ma'rifah. It's marfu'. Huh? Even from marfu'. No. Even from ma'rifah. Oh, alif lam. You can make a massive spider diagram. I done this, barakallahu feekum, when I was in Mustawa Awal in Medina. Every single sentence in book 1, I put into a spider diagram, and everything I could talk about, I write out. So I wrote out everything. I had a whole notebook of spider diagram of everything in the book. Especially page 1. Okay? Do that for yourself, and you'll see that it's revision. It's revision. Write it out, and you get your hand working, inshallah. بارك الله فيك. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك. أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت. أستغفرك.